Hello, sweet friend. My name is Micah, and in this video, I want to have an inky chat with you. I want to update you as to recent ink purchases and ink swaps that I've done, and then we can also do a little currently inked. I feel like I haven't done that in a while, so yeah, lots to chat about and show you, and let's put some more ink on these fingers. I already have some on there, so we're good to go. Prep work is done. So let me pull out some paper, and then maybe we'll start with the full bottles. So all of these, I usually have a rule for myself where I only buy bottles if I've tried the samples before. But I broke that rule with all of these, and mostly because these were really hard to get as samples, and I was kind of like, oh, I think I'm pretty sure that I will like it. So I went ahead, and we'll talk about whether or not I feel like I've done good. And then also a quick update, maybe, in terms of swatching tools. I did buy a different nib holder for my Kakimori brass dip nib. I really did like this one. These are both from the brand Tachikawa. I like how ergonomic this grip is, and I like that cute little pink. But as you can see, you just get ink on there, and it doesn't come off, and it really settles into this groove between the wood and the rubber, and it's just a little unsightly, and it's so thick, so it's harder to get into ink bottles. So I went with this one instead, so we can test that out, and hopefully that works a little better. And then let's do it like this and zoom you in a little further. Wrong direction. Okay, hope no one got seasick. Maybe further out just a smidge. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, maybe we'll start with the Lennon toolbar ones. I've been using these a lot. So this is sesame oil and ghost plant. And I've been opening them from the bottom. I don't know why. I think because I want to leave that sticker intact. I don't know if I'm really gonna keep all of the paper boxes for all of the inks. I'm not sure just yet. So far I've been keeping them. So I know sesame oil is really popular, I think. And I must say I'm still on the fence. I don't dislike it. I just think it's prettier when it's wet, because then it's a little bit more saturated. And then once it dries down, I feel like maybe it's a little too muted for my taste. So this color I love. Look how cool that is. That is like a woody brown almost. Well, I guess depends on the wood, right? But yeah, I love when it's wet, when it has this shade. I think it's so pretty. So this is Lennon toolbar. Wow, I'm writing very big. That's okay. And then sesame oil. So yeah, really pretty like that. Not as big a fan once it's dry. And so I have been, well, I had it in like a bigger nibbed fountain pen for a while just to try it out. And then specifically on this year's Tomoe River paper, I feel like it dries pretty muted. Maybe I can bring out my Hobonichi and show you. So for example, this was done using the sesame oil, but I think I used my Kakimori dip nib for these ones. So it obviously put a lot of ink down, and so it's maybe a little bit more saturated. Yeah. So, you know, it's okay, but I think it's just, yeah, just a smidge too grayish for me. And then I don't know if I have another good example. Like here I used it for the lettering. Yeah. So wasn't too sure about this, and then I put it, or I currently have it inked in my TWSBI Mini Diamond Mini 580. And I have an extra fine nib on here that was additionally ground by Kirkspire to a 0.3 line, so it's even finer than the TWSBI extra fine. So, whoa, that was a leap to me for the W. TWSBI diamond. And I don't know where the mini goes, so I'm just gonna do this. And then this is an extra fine. So it is kind of cool to see that this ink can still be easily read in such a fine nib. So for relatively light ink, I feel like that's pretty good. And what was kind of surprising to see was that I really liked it for some quick ideation sketches, and I think I have to adjust the lighting slightly. I think maybe I've gone a little too bright there. That's better. So these are just some really quick idea sketches for some Cat Collage Club printable stickers. But yeah, it's kind of fun for that. Just some really, no, that's something else. Some really quick light sketches. And yeah, again, kind of surprised how much I liked this. So maybe this is a way for me to use it. I feel like maybe that's more to my taste. And I can show you, I think I also, yeah, these are sketches done with the sesame oil in a medium Kaweco nib. I think they look a little bit more saturated on camera. If they were like they are on camera, I think I would like them a little better. But it always seems just a bit like there's a gray cast to the color, so not a big fan. And did I smudge the ink now? No, I did not. So yeah, that's sesame oil, and I must admit that I think if I had a sample, I might not have bought the bottle. But now that I have the bottle, it's fun to have for ink swaps, and also I'll explore further how I like it as just a light sketching color. So we'll see. Maybe the solution, the way out of this is to just use it in really fine nibs, surprisingly. I think that's kind of interesting how that came together. Okay, the other one is Ghost Plant. This one I really like. It is not quite a minty green. It's almost a minty green. And I love a minty sagey green. It looks really fresh and springy. And because it is not a olive green, and it is so sort of light, I feel like it goes with a lot of my spreads. Like there's a lot of colors you can pair this with, which I've been really enjoying. And the pen that I've inked with this ink, I've refilled already. So I've wrote it dry once. So yeah, that's really fun. So yeah, it's really pretty. It has a bit of blue in there. It's like a bluish green, light green. It goes really well with my little planty there. Overall, I feel like the Lennon Toolbar inks are really well behaved, as far as I can tell. For me, they've been really well behaved, both on the Midori paper that I love to use in this just sort of everything notebook and sketchbook notebook, but it's also been working just fine in my Hobonichi. I can show you maybe how that looks on this year's Tomoe River paper. So for example, here I used it for the header or the title of the page. And then, oh, look at that. That's written actually with sesame oil with the finer nib. And that pairs really nicely together. I think they make a really nice pairing here. Really soft, really fresh. And then, let's see here. I think there was another page where I just wrote, yes. So this is all just written with the ghost plant. And as you can see, just, yeah, it would look good with pink, it would look good with orange or brown, sienna colors, or just other greens. I think this is a really nice combination with other greens. So yeah, I think this is definitely a really good color for me. I love using it. I currently have it in my Lamy Safari in this, yeah, minty sagey green color. This pen actually works really well for me. I know some people have trouble with Lamys, but actually both of my Lamys work really well. The only thing is that I've noticed is that sometimes when I open the pen or use the pen, this bottom section gets loose, and that's a little annoying. I don't know, I've never noticed that before, but so this is the Lamy Safari, and this has a fine nib, and that works really, really well. And I love this combination, so that's been a go-to for me. And then, yeah, let's keep going with the bottles. So those are the 2 Lennon toolbars, and I do want to try more of them. I have sort of a ranking of what's next. But let's talk about Kakimori inks, shall we? So this ink, I waited to buy for weeks. So I hummed and hawed about this because they are pricey. And I had to buy it from a store where I bought it from the Boston General Store is what it's called, and I didn't want anything else from the store, so it's not like I could get free shipping or pay shipping and get something else that I would really like. So, you know, that really did bump up the price of the bottle a little bit. And I didn't test it. I haven't tested it before. The only thing I did do was get some Kakimori ink samples from Lauren from Jackalope Journals. She was kind enough to send me these to just at least get a feel for Kakimori inks in general. And I really liked the flow of these and how they are waterproof because they're pigment based. And so everything was telling me that this was a good idea. So I ended up, after weeks and weeks, ended up ordering this. So this is called Kitchen Cupboard. It is from their Color Specimen line. And also, how cool is this bottle? First of all, super cute with this rounded shape, but also the way the opening is angled makes it so easy to dip in. So, I mean, 10 out of 10 for the bottle design. And this Color Specimen line that they have is kind of like their limited line, where they just find these objects or they take sort of abstract concepts and they make inks out of them. And so, as the name suggests, oh yeah, that's a lot on the nib. Kitchen Cupboard. This one is made after or modeled after wooden kitchen cabinets. And the sort of the way it looked online really made it seem, like a good like medium level brown with quite a bit of yellow undertones. Exactly the kind of brown that I like. But I don't know, I feel like it is definitely with the dip pen, it is way more red than I thought it was gonna be. If you can see here. I mean, it definitely has yellow in there, but also quite a bit of red. And I don't know. I don't know if it's the color that I wanted it to be. So currently I have it in this TWSBI. And it just, I don't know, it feels really weird coming out of the nib too. I don't know. It feels kind of slippery in a way that even these other ones didn't. So I'm not sure why that is. But maybe you can tell now in the writing what I mean when I say that I'm missing a little bit of the yellow that I was hoping to get with this. Yeah. And then something else that I have noticed in particular with the Kakimori inks is that they like to misbehave on this year's Tomoe River paper, which is kind of a bummer because like I paid good money for the notebook, I paid good money for the ink, but they don't want to play nice with each other, which is really frustrating. And I think I can show you. Yeah, so, I mean, granted, I did this with the Kakimori dip nib, but this is the swatch on the Tomoe River paper. Like, what is this? This is so not even close to what this, like, you know? Where's all the color gone? Tomoe River. And so here I did another swatch on Midori paper to, like, compare that. That is so sad. So yeah, I don't think I've used it since in here because, yeah, still not sure about the color. So this is definitely making me feel like, yep, this is why we have the rule about the samples. So I'm not sure yet. I'm definitely gonna play around with this. And I mean, this is definitely, I bought it to be able to draw with it and add watercolor to the sketches. So that's definitely what I want to do with this. Oh, I can show you some drawings with it. And I think these drawings will show you what I mean with, like, why the flow seems so weird. So this is done with it. And see, it's just, I don't know. Am I imagining things, or can you tell what I mean with how the ink has this sort of slippery feel? Can you see that in the texture that it makes? But yeah, let me know if you have experience with Kakimori inks. Let me know if that is that maybe just this color that they added so much of one thing to it that it's kind of weird like that. I don't know. And then I'm not sure I ever swatched these for you, so let me go ahead and swatch these out for you as well. So this is Makuri, and this is interesting. This is sort of like a really dark brown with maybe hints of purple in it. Oh yeah, definitely purple in it. Maybe not even brown, but more like a gray or gray brown with purple. I think that's a good way of describing it. And this is super interesting because I think if I was looking at swatches from these inks, I probably would have never picked this out to try. Oh, now I have to think. Makuri. Yeah, I probably would have never picked this out for myself, but thankfully now I have, because this is really fun. I don't really like this so much for writing. I think it's not the most interesting color for writing. Well, here I'm saying that for myself. I mean, if you love it in writing, please don't let me deter you from that. But this is really cool for sketching, I think. So I did these little doodles when I was first inking up this pen, which is actually my other Lamy that has a medium nib on it. So I think it's more interesting than most blacks, and it just has a warmth to it that I really like, and I just think that's really fun. And yeah, so thank you, Lauren, for sending that to me, because I think I would have never picked that out for myself. And that's the great thing about ink swaps, I guess, that you can experience some things that yeah, you wouldn't have otherwise. The M looks really weird, but okay. So that's that. And actually I wrote the headline with that as well. But definitely really cool for doodling and drawing. Still on the fence whether or not I would want that in a bottle, if that's enough to warrant a bottle. So yeah. And then the other Kakimori ink is this Meteor. This is a stormy blue, I would say, like a dark indigo. Yeah, super pretty. I just want to draw stormy skies and seascapes with it. Kakimori. Meteor. Yes. So yeah, really, really cool, really pretty. I have yet to ink this in a pen, but I think it is so pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And then, I don't know, did I even show you the Mercury up close? Yeah, now it looks more brown, doesn't it? When it first goes down, it's definitely more purple leaning, and then it goes more brown while it dries, I guess. Yeah. So that's the Kakimori. Overall, pretty good experience. Better experience with with the samples than with the full bottle. But we'll see how this develops. And then the last full bottle that I bought and didn't have a sample of is Sailor Afternoon Tea Time. Now, this is also my first Sailor bottle. And I saw swatches and I thought, wow, that is so my color. It's between like a sienna and an orange. And I thought that, well, that was so pretty. Now, I broke another rule with this bottle, which is to order from Amazon. I have stopped ordering from there, but it was the only place I could get this ink. So, yeah. Now, when I open this bottle, I'm immediately hit with a smell. It definitely smells bad. It does not smell like any of my other inks. I've never encountered anything like this. And I'm a little concerned that, you know, the way it was stored, that it kind of went funky. It doesn't seem to behave in any weird way, like it seems to behave like any ink would. So if you have any information as to whether or not inks can smell bad without being bad, let me know, because I think I'm still within the return window, so I could still return it, I guess. Afternoon tea. Which means that I'll not have this ink because I don't know where else to get it. So it's either this or not at all. But, you know, I mean, it's like if I couldn't have this sitting open on my desk because this smell would make me nauseous. It's definitely like something is wrong. It's definitely the smell I would attach to this. So that's a little concerning. And so I did ink it up in a pen. I only put it in my Kakuno because, again, I wasn't quite sure what to think of the smell, and I didn't want to, you know, ruin any of my fountain pens with it. But I figured the Pilot Kakuno can muster it. And so when you write with the dip nib, it comes out a lot more. Almost like a more reddish, like a fiery orange. It looks milder on the camera, but then once you put it in a pen, I think that gets a little more subdued. And this is an extra fine nib, so I guess that's even further. Like the finer the nib, I guess, the more it leans back into that yellowish sienna color, if that makes any sense. And this is an extra fine. I'm not really an extra fine girly. I don't know why I bought this in an extra fine. But, you know, just for testing it out, I guess it's fine. I don't even know if you can really tell that color with how fine that line is. But, yeah, I mean, in general, I think it's a fun color. I think I did some more testing in the back here. Maybe I can show you here. So If you can sort of, with more lines written, maybe you can tell a little bit better what the color is. That's with the dip nib. And then this is with the, yeah, I like how retro it feels. It feels very like 70s, which I obviously love. So that's really cool. So I want to keep this ink, but I don't want to keep it if it's bad or if it's gonna ruin my pens, you know. So yeah, if you have any information about that, let me know. I'm curious. Okay, I had to take a quick break because my camera battery was empty, so I hope that I charged it enough to do the rest of these swatches. And those would be the inks that I got sent by the very kind and generous Mandy from The Bookish Artist. She and I got to talking about the Tom's Studio Pigment Black, and so she kindly offered to send me some, and then she included some more inks that we're gonna swatch, and we had a little bit of a leakage situation, so the the labels look a little worse for wear, but yeah, the colors are really fun. And she sent me like a lovely letter and stickers and all kinds of really fun goodies. So I'll leave her channel linked below. She is wonderful and she has a lot of fun videos about inks and fountain pens. So this is the Tom's Studio Pigment Black. And now I want to be careful not to get that black on the wood. I guess swatching this is maybe not super interesting because it's oh shoot, that was ink. I thought that was just some, anyway, it's just a good dark black. And maybe I can zoom you in a little further. I think I accidentally zoomed you out. Let's do this maybe. So this is the Tom's Studio. And that's the Pigment Black. And it's a really nice black, like a matte black, and it's really dark and deep. And it is waterproof. And so I'm currently testing that out in my TWSBI Eco with a fine nib. TWSBI Eco Fine. And I like it. I like the flow of it. I like how it dries and how waterproof it is. I so far can't quite tell if I like it more than my Diatramentus Document Black and whether or not I would switch from my Diatramentus to the Tom's Studio. I'll have to kind of wait and see with that. So that's a TBD, but so far I like it. It's just a question of, do I invest in another black? And then let's do the other fun colors. There's two Birmingham, and then she sent me one Kobe, the Kobe 54, the, ooh, can I say this? Goshikiyama Ochre, which I like the sound of that. This, by the way, smells the way the Sailor Afternoon Tea smells. So Mandy, if you're watching this, I'll also write her. I hope that that doesn't mean that her ink bottle, that there's something wrong with her ink bottle. Maybe it's just the sample, or maybe some inks just smell this way. But yeah, I've never smelled that before. And I mean, it's very distinctive. Like, this is definitely not my nose. So let's see here. Oh, I love this. This is sort of a pink, and it seems like there's maybe a little bit of yellow, beigey stuff in it. Maybe I'll did this a little bit more. Seems like maybe the ink is a little dry. Kobe 54. I definitely like this shade. I feel like Mandy did a good job of picking a color that I definitely would enjoy. Goshikiyama. Like so. And then ochre. And it's interesting because for an ochre, it's definitely very pink. That's kind of fascinating. And yeah, I didn't ink that in a pen. maybe we can just do some doodles. Just to also use the ink up that's on the nib. Yeah, I would imagine that that's a little bit dry. Whoops, that is a very loopy looking cat. It's okay. Just gives it more personality. Yeah, definitely like that kind of shade of color, for sure. But, yeah, we'll see. I'll have to ink that in a pen and see how it flows. And then we have two Birmingham Penco company, Birmingham Penco inks. This one is Seized Gearbox. And so far I've only ever used, oh no, I got ink on the, ever used samples of the Birmingham Pen Company. It does seem like they switch out their ink offerings quite a bit. So if you like a color, you kind of like have to buy it then and there, which is kind of like, Like I've gotten several colors in swaps before, and then when I look on the website to maybe potentially buy a whole bottle, they're already gone. So what are we doing? Birmingham, well, I'll just do this. And then this is Seized. That's a cool color. It's like a very olivey green with quite a bit of yellow in it. Seized Gearbox. That's cool. Maybe we do a couple leaves and a flower. Yeah. Can you see that? That's really cool. It's very murky, but I like that shift between that almost like a lime green towards something a little bit more murky, but then also very yellow. Look at the tip of the flower. That's almost yellow. Really cool. There's a lot of things going on there. Yeah, very fun. I could definitely, wow, in the water it looks bright green when I wash out my pen. Yeah, that's a fun one. But yeah, I think this is not available anymore. Oops. Got it on my fingers. Of course I did. And then we have Birmingham Penco Waterfront Dusk. Wow. That's some very evocative names. I like it. That must be so fun to like come up with the names. And sometimes I wonder, do they come up with names before they know the color and then they make the color fit the name? Or do they sometimes also just have the name and then they imagine the color that goes with it? Maybe both. Just depends on sort of what's happening. So that is BPC Waterfront Dusk. It's a very dark purple, almost like a eggplant color. Yeah, so yeah, dark purple that is not too saturated. So yeah, dusky. Pretty. That's real nice. Yeah. Yeah, Mandy, you picked out some really lovely colors. I would definitely feel drawn to all of these if I saw them somewhere. So yeah, thank you so much for sending me those. And then in terms of my fountain pens, so we had this was the Kakuno with the Sailor Afternoon Tea, the TWSBI with the Tom Studio Black, another TWSBI with the Lennon Toolbar Sesame Oil, and also, as someone who's not really into transparent fountain pens, I sure do have a lot of transparent demonstrator fountain pens. Not sure what's going on there. And then, yeah, we talked about these. So this is the Lynn Toolbar Ghost Plant, the Kakimori Kitchen Cabinet, and the Kakimori Mercury. So then the only pens left that haven't been inked with any of those samples or bottles that I recently bought are these two beauties. Love these colors. So in my Kaweco Sport, I have inked Colorverse Soiree Fog. And I guess we can make a bigger swatch with, I have the sample right here, which is a very fun coral pink color. And I feel like in the test vial, it looks like liquid jello. It's really funny. And I really enjoy these kinds of bright corally pinks. And when swatched out, I was a little hesitant. I felt like maybe this was going to be too watery in a pen, but it actually works okay. It works better in a pen actually than on the dip nib. Well, and you know what? Since I have it in a pen, why don't I write with the pen? So I put it in my little Kaweco, first of all, because how cute is that color combination? And also, this is a medium nib, and so I figured this is great for just having fun with some headers or to do quotes in like a more brighter color. That was kind of the thinking of this, and I guess you could even have more fun with this and get like a broad. Maybe that would be fun just for headers and bigger quotes, and then play with some brighter in colors. I think that might be nice. And I mean, you know, sometimes the writing, it actually softens quite a bit once it's in a nib, and the camera is losing a little bit of the, it's not quite neon, but it's in the neighborhood of neon, I would say, but it's a really cool color. I really like it. It's definitely something that I enjoy, and I think, where did I use it? I think it was the Traveler's Notebook. And should I zoom you back out a little? Sorry, I hope all this zooming in and out doesn't make anyone car sick or seasick. Let's see. Yes, so that's what it looks like when you use it for titles. I think that's really fun. I don't think that's too much. I mean, obviously it depends on what your personal taste is for that kind of stuff, but I think especially like with a pair with a brown like this and then with the fresh green, I mean, yeah, to me this is all these colors, that's just completely me. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that, so that's kind of exciting. I have a couple more colors similar to this that I want to try out. I have a little list because yeah, I want to just go through and see what I like best flow wise before buying any bottle. And so yeah, really excited for this, and it's a fun thing for summer as well because it just looks like vibrant popsicle stuff. I don't know. Stuff. That's good. And then last but certainly not least, this is actually my favorite writer, is my Leonardo Momento Zero. And this was so far also the first and only fountain pen I've bought this year. And I love it. I love the color. I love the sort of all these little pieces. And the weight is so nice. And I don't know, I just love writing with this. So a lot of my journal entries recently have been written with this. And the combination is also a really nice one. I've been writing with the Tasha Cha or brown ink. And this is such a pretty ink. And next up I'm going to try the Tsuchi from Tasha, which I'm also very excited about. So we'll see which one I like better. I feel like the Cha has definitely more... Oh, this is going to get inky. Because it's all the way down there because I've used up almost all of the sample. I've definitely re-inked my pen with this already. Yeah, this one is definitely more red than the Tsuchi. The Tsuchi has more of a yellow undertones. But it flows so well, like it behaves so well. It works on the Midori paper, it works on this year's Tomoe River paper, it works and looks beautiful in the I have one I was gonna say Lighthouse. Because that's the English translation, one of the Leuchtturm notebooks. And so yeah, this seems to be just a really well-behaved ink. So yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And so this has a fine nib in the Leonardo. Momento. Zero. Yeah, love this kind of ink. It's not too dark, so it still has some saturation to it. It doesn't go so far into, you know, dark, almost black that you can't really tell what color it is. So, absolute favorite. And I can't, again, that I know I like this ink, and I'm almost out of this sample. But I bought all these other bottles before I bought a bottle of this. That just seems silly. Seems silly, but that's just what it is. Sometimes it's just, yeah. I mean, this is just a perfect brown. I love how much saturation it has for a brown without tilting over into a red, you know? Beautiful. So I thought the kitchen cabinet was closer to this, just a bit lighter and maybe a smidge more yellow, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird. And maybe I can show this again. Maybe again you can, it almost seems soapy, you know, the way the ink lays down on the paper. Yeah. I don't know. Not for how much I built it up in my mind and then pulled the plug and finally ordered it. It's a little disappointing, I must say. Okay, I think that is it in terms of what's happening with my fountain pens, with new inks that I've been recently playing around with. The only other thing is that I can maybe briefly mention, and I think I've talked about this before actually, this pen, my Pilot Custom 912, is still being a little finicky. It's entirely my fault. I just left waterproof ink in there way too long without using it last year when we were moving. And so I've now done several passes with different versions of how I clean it. And I've gotten quite a lot of dried up ink out of there, but it's still... The thing is that I do a cleaning session and then I ink it back up. And then when I fill the pen with ink, it'll write for like 2 pages beautifully, and I think I fixed it, and then it will just stop. So I think there's something going on with the feed. So I think it will write for 2 pages because it has access to the ink that has been in the feed from drawing the ink up into the converter, but the ink from the converter can't really flow through the feed. That's at least my working theory at this point. Let me know if you have any experiences with that kind of pen behavior, and I can show you, because I just did another cleaning session this morning, and I was able to doodle with it and write out an entire page. And the doodles and the writing, they look like they're supposed to look, like the ink is flowing just as it's supposed to. Like none of this to me looks like the nib would be starved of ink. It doesn't look dry at all. It wasn't dry feeling. But then I finished this, and then I put the pen away for 2 minutes, and then I picked it back up, and then it wasn't working. And so here, oh well, now here there's some ink, but this will also just work for a bit, and then it'll die again. So I think what I'm gonna try next, and if you have any experiences with any of this, let me know. I would love to know. The next step is going to be to order a feed from the Flexible Nib Factory, and their Pilot 912 feeds are made for the flex nib, for the falcon nib, so they're saying that it might be too wet for my normal nib, but I think I'm willing to try that out because I could buy a $30 feed to save a pen that cost me over $200. And so then I'm just gonna swap out the feed entirely because this morning was the first time I ever unscrewed the nib and the feed, and I got the nib cleaned really well, so the nib looks fine, and that's the most expensive part of this pen. So really all I need is a Pilot feed for a number 10 nib, and so far I've only found the Flexible Nib Factory to have any kind of Pilot feed, but again, I'm not quite sure if that's gonna work out. I guess if it makes the pen a little wetter, I could counteract with maybe putting drier inks in there and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd appreciate if you have any sort of insight into any of that. Yeah, or if there's any other place that offers feeds, because as far as I can tell, Pilot does not offer that. Maybe I can write someone and just ask it as a favor if I can just buy it, if they don't usually offer that. I don't know, but yeah, that's been my ink and fountain pen update. I hope you enjoyed this little chat, and let me know if you have a favorite in terms of the ink colors that I have shared with you today. And yeah, as always, thanks so much for sharing this time with me, and until next time, happy journaling.